Hotep Senu Hena Senu Iti, Ren Ishakan Kemet. I hope you're doing well, brothers and sisters. Now, it's like the good old days. It should be, it should be 12 o'clock, lunchtime, 12 p.m. EST in New York. And that's the good old days of the radio broadcast. Oh, I forgot to get something. And as a matter of fact, that was a few years ago. So hopefully, I might be, viens ici. I might be able to catch some of you. Ici. Okay. Donne-moi ça là-bas. Va me chercher ça. Va chercher. So, Kemetic Language. I've I have finished this one by a PhD. And she happened to recommend another book from an author that I already read and I already talked about him. But the book that she recommended is the one that he made with someone else. You have to forgive me because I have the background. You can't really see the books too well. So my pleasure, my happiness is in noticing. Tu veux quoi, Miro? Tu veux quoi là? Is in realizing that my teaching method is very accurate. The things that I go through these different books, and those are not the only books about the middle nature, but some of them. So the things that I go through in those books by PhDs, by Egyptologists, are actually taught in the middle nature classes that I've been giving for a few years now. And I'm very glad because accuracy is great. Oh, viens ici. Tout ça. Touche pas ça. I'll be with you. Just give me a minute. I promise everything will turn out lovely. For those who know the song. From the Queen's Native. Tiens, prends ça. Hmm, I forgot the name of my slides. C'est bon, ça suffit. Tiens, voilà. Oh yeah. Plenty. Okay. Besides the museum videos, I used to show artifacts, and I used to go through some of the vocabulary, some of the words and sentences that we go through in the classes. And here, for example, it's a bit small. It is slightly cursive because it is painted and not carved. The glyphs always look better, neater, when it is carved. This is from the Museum of Geneva in Switzerland. Over there, we're not allowed to film. We can only take pictures. See, many people talk Usir or Asir. They will not even be able to point out his name. His name is here. Now, you might recognize the ibis headed individual that I addressed not long ago with one of my Medu Nature learner that happens to speak the language of Kikongo, amongst other languages. Now, the Greeks call him Thought, but in Medu Nature, it's actually Jehuti, and his name is here, Jehuti. And it happens that in Kikongo, the sister told me that their word for ibis is Tuti. Then we have Neb Medu Necher. Neb Medu Necher. Many people talk Ma'at. They wouldn't be able to point out Ma'at in any text. The name Ma'at is here. There are several spellings, but the pronunciation is the same. Many people greet by saying Hotep. They wouldn't know how to point out the word Hotep in any text. The word Hotep is written here. The name Ra is written here as well. A bit small here. We have Neb Ma'atra. Here we have Sarah. Here we have the Ankh. Here we have Mut. Here we have Ka. We have Hemet. Here we have Necher A Neb Pet. Here we have Abju, that the Greeks call Abydos. Here we have the deity or the Necher Geb. Above Geb, we have the Necher Ra. Here we have the word Sat, which means daughter. Here we have a title, Ma'acheru, true of voice or justified. Here we have the word Per. I mentioned that word many times. Here we have Chet Neferet Wabet, which appears very often in the offering formula. This one is from the Leiden Museum in the Netherlands. Now it's a bit late, it's around 600 BC. A moment. Here we have Nut, the Necheret. Here we have Saek. Here we have Nebethet. Mutek. Jet. Plenty of uniliterals that we go through that you actually have on the website. The full hieroglyphic sign list that should be in the description of this video. Here we have the word Necheru. Many people talk Necher. They talk that Ankh. Now the Ankh, everybody can recognize it. It's not a problem. Mais Ruth, amène la bouteille là. Amène la bouteille tout de suite. Amène la bouteille tout de suite. But unfortunately, they will not be able to recognize it. Are you interested, brothers and sisters? Because as you have seen, I've been trying to get some people to sign up for the new time slot. Saturday, 11 p.m. EST, New York time. There can be other time slots. All you need to do is to send me an email. But are you interested? Is this something you want to learn? Do you want to take it further? You have to let me know. Because if you're not interested, then I can wait slowly but surely. And I can stick to making quotes every now and then and having music also. It's obvious that it's the people who are not regular that happens to show interest. Because sadly, the majority of Kemetic people don't learn the Medu Neter. It's a fact. I've been in contact with Kemetic people for more than 15 years. And they've all been kicking it. They've all been claiming that they will learn it. And they haven't learned Jap. And every now and then, those Kemetic people will listen to some names on the internet who will say stuff like they have a record for Yeshua during his lifetime. They have a record for Joseph during his lifetime. So even hearing the name Joseph has her cracking up. Joseph. Oh, they would tell you Joseph was such and such Pharaoh. Then the same hardcore Kemetic people will be in doubt. They will try to assess it. They will listen to the 2-3 hour live stream of people talking nonsense. People get diverted easily. The advantage when you deal with Kemet is that you mainly deal with primary sources. You don't deal with copies of the copies of the copies of the copies that were made in a different language. You don't deal with Greek texts that were later translated into Hebrew. So you are on point in terms of sources. But do you put value in those things? You see, like I've said, arrête, arrête. There's that documentary, and they talk about some very small fragment of an early Bible copy. And when people visit that location and they see the artifact, and when I say people, I mean Christians, they get emotional. They cry. And we're talking about a small fragment that is just an ancient copy, not an original. We have plenty of records, plenty of text. Why don't people put value in those texts? Like the wisdom of Ptahhotep. Why don't people put value in this? Something that is labeled the oldest book in the world. The Maxims of Ptahhotep, or the wisdom of Ptahhotep. Over 2000 BC. Over 2000 BC. And there are plenty of other texts. You see, it's important to not deal with fence riders because we have some people who actually claim to be Kemetic. Some of them bear Kemetic names. And they have dissed Kemetic people. They allow people to diss Kemetic people. You have some people who be thoughting. They be thoughting on, different platforms. And they let people come on their platform and diss Kemetic people. And the funny thing is that the people who diss Kemetic people, of course, for the most part, are not Kemetic. There are different persuasions of the Abrahamic belief system. But they will not invite those fence riders on their platform, let alone to diss their belief system. It's a big shame. It's a waste of time and energy. Some people just want to be heard. Some people just love the attention. If you have a culture, why don't you learn your culture? Some people are happy with doing some sort of melting pot. You got your belief system. It's a black belief system. I got mine. It's a black one. Let's go together. Let's unite. So they like to say. They haven't created any association. They haven't created any organization. They don't have any offices. They don't have any premises, let alone any businesses. It's just a mouth full of sugar. Ain't going nowhere. If those people really wanted to unite in an interfaith manner, don't you think they would have done so by now? So who's down for the culture? When the culture will be attacked and disrespected, who will stand up for it? We have plenty of scholars. We have plenty of professors. And when Kemet was dissed heavily, qu'est-ce qu'il y a là? Have we heard from those people? I forgot to check that you can hear me loud and clear. Yes, you can. That's beautiful. We need to be solid. We need people that are solid. So we will not waste our time. We will not waste our energy. Remember that those people are getting paid. They've been getting paid. We don't have that luxury. We need to protect the culture. We need to defend the culture. And remember, when you first get the knowledge, share the knowledge, support the knowledge, but most importantly, apply the knowledge. What's the point talking about Kemetic for you? It's just one more thing in the puzzle. When it is clearly not just one more thing in the puzzle. Do you picture people being Christians and after 15 years they just barely know the Christian stories? Or Muslim, someone who either converted or grew up in a Muslim family and after 15 years he knows like two or three Arabic words? Have you ever seen that? Have you seen Christians and Muslims who remain silent when their faith is being disrespected? That's why when people talk about the conscious community, it doesn't fly for me. It's not glorious at all. As a matter of fact, because every now and then we have some French speakers, just like we did yesterday when I was live streaming. Today, I made a live stream when it was actually lunchtime in France. And I had to remind people and inform some people, because many don't know, that the French Pan Africans are maybe diplomatic, extremely foul, extremely foul. So it's been 20 minutes now, 22 minutes actually. So let's see. Usually between 20 and half an hour, 20 minutes and 30 minutes. That's when we have some people who begin to come and join the platform. We will see for now. But I want to know if there's a point for me trying to recruit people. So far, when I've been recruiting people, I had some people ready. The only difference now is I'm looking for groups. So I need sufficient, I need enough people. Bear with me. So yes, the French Pan Africans are extremely foul, and I've experienced firsthand those whack Pan African ladies who stop you from seeing your child. You have to go to the court. You have to go through the legal system so that you can see your child. The same kind of ladies who would tell the children that the father ain't there for them. You understand what I'm saying? And the punk Pan Africans, they applaud that, they support that because they work as hell. But anyway, I told you they defend rapists and pedophiles, so I don't need to really dwell too much because that's some of the that's some of the lowest thing ever. And you have some people worldwide that are watching And they might feel like, okay, well, I have some interesting people there. I might follow their ways, follow their path. But remember, what do they stand for? Are they fence fighting? Who are they associating themselves with? Are they silent when the culture has been disrespected? It's one of the most important thing, actually. You know, if you're down for something, it's all good to talk about it. It's all good to get the kudos and the benefit from it. But when it's being attacked, do you defend your culture? Do you defend the ancestors? Have they done that so far? That's very important. So the number one thing really is to learn the culture. If I find some people you can learn the language with, hey, by all means, the language is the heart of a culture. It's the core of a culture. See, every now and then I hear people talk about the meta nature and they say some stuff that's just weird. And I'm like, damn, man. When will the level go up? Now, maybe eventually some people will come and say it has not been deciphered. I had a message today, and I will show you. If I can find it. Oh, never mind, never mind, never mind. It was the video Allah is not in Nubia Temple of Ptah, and somebody left a message, left a comment saying, basically, you cannot. Let me see the exact quote. The exact quote. That person wrote 7 hours ago, you cannot learn the alphabet of a language you can't write or speak. And that message doesn't make sense to me. Now, the dude has an avatar of the compass and square with the letter G, if I'm not mistaken. So he's probably into Freemasonry, so he's probably a bit like metaphysicians, a bit, on the moon or something. But anybody can learn the alphabet or the meta nature because the meta nature is a language with an alphabet, and the meta nature can be written and it can be spoken. Amazingly, once again, people don't say those things when it comes to Hebrew and Aramaic and Akkadian. Hey. Wait. So indeed, maybe some people will come today and try to argue that the meta nature has not been deciphered. Tu fais trop de bruit, Beyrouth, là. Tu veux que je t'attache ici, là? But if they want to do so, the anonymous period is over. Anybody that wants to get on the panel, wait. Yeah, so at this point, after so many years, Um, we're not really allowed to have people making crazy claims and not being accountable for it. You understand what I'm saying? And this is really a what word could I use? A filter. This is really a filter. So when people are there and we can see their face, we can know who they are. They are way more careful with their claims, with their affirmation. Because some people act like, they want to engage in some discussion and have some discourse about history, but really they're trolling. Or they're just here to just try to validate any of their belief system without even thinking much, just saying whatever pops in their brain to try to validate their fictional stories and fairy tales, you know. So we'll see. But I must say, the claim of the Medu Nature not being deciphered, or that we cannot read or understand the Medu Nature, is one of the saddest claim I ever heard in my life. It's also one of the most ridiculous claim I ever heard in my life. And those people will not admit it. But for the majority of them, they're just too lazy to learn it. And they realize that many people from many countries, many different ethnic groups or races, they know it, they learn it, and they feel ashamed, they feel bad about it, they feel some type of way about it. So they found a very convenient way to um, make up for their lack of knowledge of the Medu Nature by just saying it hasn't been deciphered. It's sad, but it's a reality. Because it's not too much of a good look for someone to be a specialist or someone to mainly deal with Kemet, but yet he doesn't know the language. It's a bit like having an imam that doesn't know the Arabic. Usually, an imam knows the Arabic. You understand what I'm saying? So, do we have people who want to learn the Medu Nature, the Kemetic language? Do we? You can still address any topic. Feel free. But mainly, I prefer to talk about the Kemetic language. I'm looking for people who want to be down. I'm looking for people to join that community of learners. We are in different countries. We're growing as a people. Don't you want to be part of the people that took it further and learned the Kemetic language? Or is Kemet just a fashion for you? And you want to stick to making those claims that Jordan Maxwell and them been saying? Those are the ones who should catch the heat from scholars who like to say, "Oh, you guys are making too many parallels between Jesus and Horus." It's those people who should catch the heat, not just any Kemetic people that should catch the heat for some things that they have not claimed, for some things that they have not said. The attack has been there. It's not new. It's not new. This thing here is not recent.
The railway never being built. Road Kemet garbage. If you want to get off sensitive
Come on, go ahead.
about blacks conquering blacks, throw Maya in the trash can, throw out this rock, the slave nation God away.
That's not recent, and that comes from a PhD. How many scholars have you heard stepping up to the plate, defend the culture, to address the statements? How many? There's another dude who went on the platform talking about, yeah, Kemeti's dead. You know, like I've been saying, Kemeti's dead. I challenged the dude. He didn't want it. It's all good. People have anti-black and anti-African lessons slash teachings, so-called supreme wisdom, and they want to kick it. They believe in a big head scientist called Yakub, and they want to kick it, and they want to diss Kemet and say that Kemet is dead. Now that guy, you've heard what he said, the PhD, he actually got rewarded. Well, he was rewarded by the NBPP. Then he was rewarded by so-called Kemetic people that invited him on his platform, on their platform. The conscious community is a circle. It's a circus. It's a circus. Some people love to be threatened. They love the attention, and they invite anybody for the attention. They don't have any direction. They don't stand for anything. They are all over the place. They want to be black Hebrews, black Arabs, which just doesn't exist. And we dealt with that. We dealt with that for years. Brothers and sisters, are you waiting for Hebrew Israelites and black Muslims to say, well, okay, you're right, brother, sister, you're right. It wasn't such thing as some black Arabs in the 7th century. You're right, there wasn't any black Moses. Or you're right, the Canaanites were not black. Circa 2500 BC to the present day. Is that what you're waiting for? Because if you're waiting for that, you will wait a long time. It's their bread and butter. Do you think they will have the integrity of admitting that what they've been teaching is incorrect? Have they shown you any depictions of the Arabs and the Canaanites? You know, I did show you. Some people are not aware that it actually exists. Yes, we have depictions. We have statues. We have paintings of the Asiatics that exist. And when we look at the depictions, we see white-skinned people. We see Caucasian type of people. Well, someone called Lord Voldemort. I think that's some Harry Potter name. You know, brothers and sisters, you know, get yourself some, get yourself some name that, you know, that has at least some connection to your identity. I don't know where you get those exotic names. When I see that name, I'm a bit worried. I'm like, you know, it might be someone who wants to come troll. So what are you waiting for, brothers and sisters? The truth is, the majority of you are so in love with the Abrahamic belief system. You're always waiting for someone to come and try to come with some, try to make some fruitful claims. Just like that so-called professor in France who showed anime, he showed cartoon, he showed painting of the Nubians. You know how the Nubians used to love to have paintings of the so-called patriarchs, you know, Moses, Muhammad, and all that, Adam, you know. That's what he took, and he showed it to the people and said, look, those are portraits of Prophet Muhammad made based on testimonies. And he said, I even have some when he was younger. And that's the so-called professor. That's the level of Pan-Africans or so-called Kemetic people in France. And when something like that comes up, people are happy, just like with that dude that claimed that we have a glyph that means Allah. Now, actually, you know, when I mentioned that, you might think, you know, that sounds off. That sounds far-fetched. You know, I will show you what's up. You know, it actually exists, man. Some people went that far, and plenty of people believe that stuff, man. It's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. And let's have a look together. Let's have a look together. Now, share the screen. And the things you hear, I'm telling you.
Hotep. This is Shakandugu Kemet. This presentation is called Allah is not written in pre-dynastic Nubia Temple of Ptah. I'm going to show you a 20-second excerpt from a video that made a lot of groupies happy lately, and then I'm going to expose why it's wrong.
If you know Islam, or if you know Arabic, you know the name of Allah is written Alif Lam Lam Ha Satir. This is wonderful. This is ancient Africa. This is Alif Lam Lam Ha Satir. This is Allah.
Here's a close-up of the Medunetta. The gentleman talking is Padara Ndao. We're going to get right into it. Medunetta is a more appropriate name for what is more commonly called hieroglyphs. They are numbered, and the one that we are looking at is D37. Okay. Now D37 is sound for G. Now, if you go on Wikiversity, development of hieroglyphic writing, it says D37 and D39 was a determinant meaning to offer. D37 shows an arm and a hand offering a stilized loaf of bread. For further reading, you have R.H. Wilkinson, Reading Egyptian Art, 1992. You also have a picture of Tehutimes, more commonly known as Tutmosis III, showing offering, and this gesture is shown in D39. Now here's a bigger resolution of the picture. You also have a link to the website of the English Egyptologist Alan Gardiner. Is apparently the one who came up with the classification for the Medunetta, the hieroglyphs, if you will. And you can see that D37 means give, to give, okay? You can also check out hieroglyphs.net, and you can see that you have the sign, the symbol for D37, and it means give. It's a verb. Now back to Wikipedia. Don't you worry, it's not my primary sources. There will be others. You can see here the bread cone. That's inside the palm of the hand. You have an extended arm, and then in the palm of the hand, you have the cone, and that's the symbol that we are dealing with. Okay, that person earlier claimed that means Allah. Okay. You have a picture of the vessel for Pepi the First said festival. If you look closely between the two arcs in the bottom, you can see the actual cone, bread cone. Okay. And talking about festival, if you check page 58 of the Per M Heru, which is more commonly known as the Book of the Dead, you have a translation of a few symbols with the one that we're dealing with. And the translation is as follows: He is the giver of life from the beginning, which makes sense according to what we saw earlier when he says that it means give, to give, okay? Every time I quote the Per Emeru, the Book of the Dead, that's the edition that I'm talking about, okay? That one is, it's actually called the Book of the Dead, Hieroglyphic Transcript and Translation into English of the Papyrus of Ani by Wallis Budge. Now, Wikimedia Commons, you also have the symbol that we're dealing with once again, and you have a translation: given life like Ra. Now you can see the sign and the Ankh sign, which means life. You also have the the disc, the solar disc, which most of the time means Ra. So that's just a symbol that I didn't know of, means like, okay? And underneath you have the same one, but you only have the cone this time, not the actual all arm with the cone in the palm, but it means the same thing. And now underneath you have three pictures, right? The first one is a fragment from an Egyptian stela from the New Kingdom period. It was found in ancient Ugarit. The second one, I don't really know what it is because it looks like it's German. Some other language I can't read. It says Maler der Krabkammer des Hege, but then if you have that's a close up there, you can see the sign. It's about in the middle, and you have the Ankh sign as well. So it probably means give life again, something like that. And then finally, the third picture is the one that the groupies are rejoicing over. Now that one is Menrepta that makes an offering to the god Ta, and it's actually in a museum of archaeology and anthropology at the University of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, okay. Now, you remember earlier I showed you two examples where the symbol D37 was linked to festivals, right? Now here's one more. Now, if you go to the website of the Museum of Archaeology of Anthropology at the University of Pennsylvania, that's you go on, click on Exhibit and Collection, then go to Egypt, then go to Lower Egypt, the Palace of Merimta. Then, if you do a search, you don't have to read all this. Do a search, Control F, type in festival, and then that's what you're gonna have. The palace, which housed the king during religious festivals, originally stood in the vicinity of the Menfit sanctuary of the god Ptah. Now that was a long way. In case you want to show it to one of your friends, just tell them to go on Google and type in Lower Egyptian Gallery. You click on the second link, and then you have it looks like an older page from the same website though, and it says the second sentence says the palace originally stood in the vicinity of the sanctuary of Ptah at Memphis, where it housed the king during religious festivals. All right. Now let's deal with examples of the symbol's actual meaning, since apparently it's supposed to mean Allah. I'll go on Google and type in "giving life like Ra." That's the sentence that we had as an example earlier. And first thing that comes up is uponreflection.co.uk, and you do have some translations there. You have the symbols and then the meaning. In the second line, you have "May she be given life." You can see the Ankh, which means life. You have a symbol in the middle that I do not know, and then you have the cornbread. Okay, underneath, well, what I'm at it, the Medunetta can be read from top to bottom, left to right, or right to left, but never from the bottom to the top. And the way for you to know is to look at the direction which the signs are facing. Like in this case, you can see it's facing towards the right, so you read it from right to left. And you have the sign for Sa, and then Ras, that means son of Ra. Now, just underneath, you have given life like Ra forever. Now you can see the Ankh and then the cornbread at the end. If you scroll down, you have another example, and it's given life. And you also, once again, have the Ankh and then the cornbread. Okay. And now, I'm not tempted to give you a lesson. I just want to make it plain and simple for the sake of my argument. Now, with the Medunetta, you have phonograms. There's three categories. You have the single sound or consonant, such as D21, and that's the sign for the letter R. You have two sounds or consonants, such as D28, and that's the sign for Ka. And you have three sounds or consonants, such as F35, and this one is for Nefer, that's NFR. And you also have ideograms, which are signs that represent what they mean. For example, you have a man, so that means man, that's A1, and you have B1, which is a woman, so that means woman. Finally, you have determinatives, which give a general idea of the meaning of the word. Now, what's very strange to me is that Badaranda breaks down one symbol, D37, which is spelled D or J, into Lif, Lam, Lam, A, Sakar.
The original name of Allah. Leaf, Lam, Lam, Ha, Safer. Ha, Safer means the Ha of the pyramid. And this is the right hand.
Now, bear in mind that it can be safe to say that D37 is made up of D36, which is the sound for A, that's the arm, and X8, which is spelled D and means give, and that's the cornbread. Okay. Now, for example, check out the symbol D10. That's the eye of Heru, which is called Horus by many, and it's called Ujat. Now, if I was to choose 4 different parts and give a sound for each, for example, U, D, Ja, T, it will be funny anyway, but at least there will be some logic to it. But how am I supposed to make it sound other than what we know it as, which is Ujat and nothing else? Really, to me, it's as full as somebody telling me that the Ankh means Yahweh or Allah or even Yeshua. And by the way, how can Lif Lam Ha Saker spell Allah? Okay. Now, do not let anybody fool you. The main symbols for divinity without specifications are R8, that's the sign for Neter. And if you have 3, that's Neteru, that's a plural. N5, that represents the sun and usually translated as Ra. And V30, pronounced Neb, usually translated as Lord or Thee. And also, I would like you to pay attention to this. It's from the Per Em Heru, the Book of the Dead, that's played 2. Now, look at the second line. In the middle, you have Aha. And you can see that it takes 4 symbols to have the sound Aha. And we even have the symbol D36, which Badaranda claims it means Lif Lam Lam Ha by itself. Okay. And as for Seker, you can see there on the top, it's a bit cut off, I had to scan it, but you have the Seker boat. So you can see the symbols, there's 3 symbols for Seker, then you can see the boat. And then towards the bottom, you have Ptah, Seker, Asar. Now the first 3 symbols, the square, the sign at the bottom, and then the what looks like a link facing up, that's for Ptah. And then after that, and also I think the gentleman sitting down, and after that you have the sign for Seker again, which is the same as the one on the top, right? And on this other page, that one that was page, let me check it out. That was page 171, and on the previous page 170, you have once again Ptah Seker. Yeah, you can see the 3 signs for Ptah, and then you have the sign for Seker, which are made up of 3 symbols. Now, that's very funny. If we look back again, that he breaks out one arm into Lim, Lam, Lam, Aha, Seker, and we can see how many symbols it takes just to say Seker, and earlier just to say, what was it again? Aha, for example, okay? But we're going to move right along and see some situation where the symbol is used, and let's find out the meaning. Okay, now on page 9 of Per Emeru, once again, the Book of the Dead, you have Heru Tataf, the son of King Khufu. We have the symbol twice there, okay, the D37, and since the hawk stands for Heru and the serpent stands for the sound F, in this case D37 obviously stands for the sound Ta. Now, I'm sure no one is going to tell me that Allah is the son of Khufu, right? Okay, now, page 102 of the Peremeru, you have a translation, and underneath the sign D37, it says hath given. So once again, give, to give, okay? Now, we're moving to page 103. There it says, verily a son good is of the giving of God, okay? So we have the sign D37, and it means the giving there. Okay, once again, to give, nothing to do with Allah whatsoever. I don't think it would be. It would mean verily a son good is of Allah, of God. You understand? Because we have the netter sign there. That wouldn't make sense. Okay. Now, page 346, number 22. The translation is as follows, which recordeth the names of those who are to receive offerings. And you can see that the sign D37 is last. So that stands for receive offerings. Once again, to give. And offering is probably linked to festivals. But anyway, we still have to give. It's the same meaning once again. Now, next, we're going to move to page 354. There is number 15. The translation is doors of the lords of the Tuat, let there be given unto me. And you can see that the symbol once again is at the end. So that stands for given unto me. Once again, give, to give, right? And finally, we're going to page 401. Here we're looking at 141, and the translation at the end is hidden in form given off. Okay, then it moves to 142. But if you look on the top, where you have the D37 symbol, once again, you have it twice there, and it deals with giving one, you know. So now, to in conclusion, I will give you some references with other pages where you have the D37 symbol, the arm with the cone in the end, and it always has the meaning of giving or offering or granting or something like that. So you can look it up for yourself. And I understand that a lot of you try to use Kemet somehow, some way, to give yourself some legitimacy, but you're gonna have to stand with the foolishness and come correct. Okay. Now, Hotep to my people, holla.
Hotep, this is Shakandugu Kemet. That video is entitled Allah Not in Nubia, Nail in the Coffin. Now listen and watch carefully.
LinkedIn is awesome, right? But
The original name of Allah.
Can you say the name again?
Leaf, lam, ha, saker. Ha saker means the ha of the pyramid. And this is the right hand. Like you're offering power, you're offering strength, you're offering, it's your right hand. See, the pyramid right there. And your shoulder, your leaf, lam, ha, saker. So you're using your own self. See?
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there a relation between
Now you seen it and you heard it. The same liar who claimed that the symbol means Allah not only did the arm gesture and said twice that it's the right hand, he also said, "You're offering power, you're offering strength." He said offering 3 times. Notice that the third time he stopped suddenly. Now, for the whole breakdown, see my videos. I will put the links in the description box, in the description section. If you are lazy, then you can go straight to part 2, starting at minute 3:30. That's when I show and prove straight from the translation that the symbol doesn't have anything to do with Allah. You will notice something else. Originally, he says, "This is Allah." See link in description once again. But now he says, "This is the original name of Allah." And I like the way he rubs his head like, I think they bought it so far, but then what is the next question going to be? Just go back and look again. The reason why I didn't show this part, which is taken from the same video, is because I thought that the liar would have the dignity and integrity to make a response and either one, try to defend his lies, which would obviously be a bad move, two, admit that he was wrong. It's been over 3 months since I proved that he was lying, and I figured, okay, it was weak anyway, so let it be. But the problem is that the original poster of the video is making claims that I don't want to let unchecked. So now just witness the weakness of a lying groupie. This is what he wrote. We sent the video to all of the prominent so-called Afrocentric scholars and Egyptologists. No response from not one. First of all, this anonymous, unidentified individual doesn't represent anything as far as we know, no organization, no website, and he expects the prominent so-called Afrocentric, as he puts it, to get back at him. What type of whack mentality is that? Second, he knows very well about my videos. He was mad about it. He cried about it on his own video in the comments, on other people's videos comments, because other people have uploaded that crap. And eventually, in my own videos, in the second part, because that's where I put the comment, even though it went and lied and said that I disabled the comments. But I had to block him because he was getting disrespectful. So if you don't have no respect, I block you, and you might as well go and cry with your whack groupies. You understand what I'm saying? Because I don't have time for this. Now, this is the little homie there. Only 26 friends and 41 subscribers. even though his videos has 8,000 views. It doesn't surprise me because people know the deal. They know what's up. You understand? But I guess that's one of the reasons why he's mad, because he thought he would get some play, but people don't give him the time of the day. That's why he's getting comfortable and making bold claims that I will show in a minute. It's one of his nickname, Muslim Truth Revealed. I came across this homie a while ago on the message board, and that's him there, March 2007. That's where he, as far as I know, initially let people know about this video. And the funny thing is that in the beginning of the message, he says, read the review, and the link there leads you to an article that this talks about Runoko Rashidi. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like he's trying to give himself some legitimacy by showing, look, this is Runoko Rashidi. He just explains what Rashidi went through and his work going, all around the world, and showing the African presence and stuff like that. You see, even though Rashidi is not the one making those claims, you understand what I'm saying? Really, he should have put a link that says, look, this is the guy Badarandao, that's what he does, and anything like that. No, he's putting Runoko Rashidi in the mix. You understand? A year and a half later, he uploads the video, okay? And that's the one there, if you want to see. He says, Islam and the Negro Race, I guess it's a book, pushed forward the idea that Islam, a major religion in sub-Saharan Africa, has much more unifying and fulfilling effect on sub-Saharan Africans, while Christianity, also a major religion in Africa, which was mostly introduced by its European colonizers, had a demoralizing effect. Now, the dude, basically it's like co-signing some book or whatever it is. I guess it's a book that says that, like Islam was more unifying than Christianity. Now, first of all, to all you Arabized groupies, it wasn't all good in the hood, okay? They came in enslaved, and our ancestors didn't have the choice. It was conversion or the sword. That's the way it was. And the enslavement lasted for 1,000 years, and that was before the European transatlantic slave trade. But you need to set the record straight, even as far as saying that if there wasn't no sub-Saharan slave trade, the Arab Muslim slave trade, there probably wouldn't have been no European transatlantic slave trade, okay? Now, he talks about John Henry Clark, and that's why he says, Clark obviously changed his tune about Islam after getting indoctrinated by the CIA-funded African American Institute in 1969, right? He goes on to say, Ben Jochanan was also trained by the CIA-funded African American Institute. Chancellor Williams said despicable things about Islam. You can see where it comes from. You understand what I'm saying? Despicable things about Islam. What good can we say about 1,000 years of slavery? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what good can we say. Chancellor Williams said despicable things about Islam, Arabs, and African American Muslims. The destruction book Williams wrote is fiction that somehow was sold to the uninformed African American populace as documented history. Williams has no footnotes because it's fiction. In his first edition, Williams said Arabs are white. Then he took that out in subsequent editions. Arabs are not white. Laughing out loud, right? He talks about an article presenting convincing evidence that the CIA has promoted Black cultural nationalism to reinforce neocolonialism in Africa. Now he goes on to say again, among others, they include John Henry Clark, Joseph Ben Jochanan. And he says, because they were trained to attack Islam. He says, what smokes them is its pyramid text, which denotes pre-dynastic before Kemet in Egypt. And he goes on, pyramid text is read vertically, dynastic period text, hieratic and demotic is horizontal. You can see the dude don't even know what the heck he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to move on. But the thing there, look at this. Islam is not a religion. Yeah, right. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Talking about the liar, he goes on to say, he speaks and reads the language that your European Egyptologists claim was lost. Once again, If he can speak it, he needs to tell us what the symbol means on all these pages there, because it occurs, and obviously it doesn't mean Allah. Otherwise, please holler at us and just tell us what the sentence means. You know what I'm saying? Not just the whole symbol as you describe it to your own convenience, but the whole sentence, and we'll have fun. Next, he says, by the way, it's pyramid text, not hieroglyph. Pyramid text is close to Syriac heretic script. Now that homie is telling us that it's pyramid text, it's not hieroglyph. Now hieroglyph, as far as I'm concerned, is Meduneta. So you're just telling me it's pyramid text, but not Meduneta. Once again, you don't know what the heck you're talking about. But it gets worse. Here it says, the first temple of Ptah was built in the third millennium, which is 6,000, 7,000 years before anything existed in the Indus Valley. Now on Britannica, it says that the Indus Valley civilization starts between 2500 to 1700 BC. Okay, and MSN and Carter gives the same date. Okay, so we just rounded up 2000 BC. You add, I take the smallest date, which is 6000 BC. That's 8000 BC. Okay, now remember that it says Ptah is pre-dynastic, built by Narmer Menes. And Narmer lived around 3000 BC. How could he have built something that was there around 8000 BC? You see, and that's a type of little homie that the group is being impressed by. Anyway, we know historically that it was Narmer Menes who built the temples of Ptah in pre-dynastic Nubia. First of all, anybody who has done the slightest research about Narmer will know that he is known for being the unifier of Upper and Lower Egypt. He is known as the founder of the first dynasty. So it is wrong to talk about pre-dynastic period. Period.
I was muted. So the guy who published that video is anonymous and unidentified. He is not the author of the main claim. Thank you, Game Space, but I was muted, but now you should hear me. Please confirm that you can hear me loud and clear. So, um, you have an example. This is what I call the arrogance of ignorance. The dude doesn't know what he's talking about, and he acts like he knows what he's talking about. And on top of that, he's extremely arrogant. That's really an example of the so-called conscious community dudes. For the most part, they talk nonsense and they act like they're bringing stuff, like they're bringing information. Now, like I said, beware of the people who are anonymous and unidentified. You have a few people, we don't even know who they are. They might not even be black. And they kind of have large following, and people just follow them, spend time and energy and sometimes money. You know what I'm saying? Malcolm, Martin, they were not anonymous and unidentified. And back then, the situation was way worse. People would lose their life quick over fighting for the rights of black people. We are far removed from that. I don't see any reason why someone that claims to do the work for black people will remain anonymous and unidentified. You understand what I'm saying? Now, sadly, on social media like Facebook, I don't know what happened before a while. I would not get the notification. I would not get the notification But now I get the notification, I have stuff on my feed, and it's just the same thing. We have plenty of people who have groups, and they post stuff about their belief system, the Abrahamic belief system. Like there's a video I've watched a few seconds of it. There's a statue of a white Jesus. Now he's on the cross. Well, he's laid down anyway. He's on the floor, and you have men and women kneeling, caressing his body, crying, kissing him. The Jesus is white. The people doing that, they are black. So you have posts like that that say, "Oh, it's time to wake up and get out of this Abrahamic belief system." But homies, you've been doing that for like 10 years, 15 years. You will do that until you die. You tell the people that we need to get out of the Abrahamic belief system. But what is your belief system? What is your religion? Because many people talk spirituality. Oh, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. Okay. I'll go more into details about that. Are they practicing any belief system? I mean, it's all good to say African spirituality, but that's just not enough. Because there's one guy who came out talking about African consciousness, and when it was time to debate, the dude got paid $3,000 and he humiliated the Kemetic community. I'm trying to be diplomatic, so I don't want to say any name, not at this point. He was very broad with it. African consciousness. We never seen the dudes, I mean, we never seen the dude kicking down any metal nature, as is the case for many individuals. Now, there's one guy, and he's a French speaker. He came out with a so-called proper translation of the Bible, talking about Jesus was black and all that. And I just happened to see earlier, as that video was playing, what do they call it? They call it the secret black Bible. It's in French, however. The secret black, and this is the kind of thing that our people love to get into. The same sad story, the very typical, very cliche. Oh, they lied. It was black people. They whitewashed everything. Let's get back to the true Christianity and the true Islam, which was black African. That's ridiculous, brothers and sisters. Wake up. That sounded good in the 90s, but we have to stop with this foolishness. And the so-called conscious community, that's all the hell they do. That's all the hell they do. They're so in love with those writings that they are doing cultural appropriation. That's what they are doing. Cultural appropriation. So it's so good to have groups online and post pictures and videos of people shucking and jiving in churches, of people, like in some African countries, you have children that are chained. They have chains, they have shackles on their feet. They are beaten, and they are learning the Quran all day, every day, all day long. So some people, put videos like that and say, look at this, we were enslaved to this belief system. We have to, yeah, okay, all right. You keep doing that, brothers and sisters. Many people have been doing that for 10 years, but what are you doing yourself personally? What culture are you practicing? You understand what I'm saying? And beware, brothers and sisters, you have plenty of so-called voodoo priests. They're nothing but, piece of doo-doo. Piece of doo-doo. It's a reality. Beware. You should have results. Go to those who will assure results before you give them money. Because when there's no result, they will tell you it's because you didn't do this right. You didn't say this right. Because many of us, we get out of those Abrahamic belief system, and we find we want to belong to something. We want to be part of something. And then you have those snake bastards who will tell you, yeah, I can introduce you to the African ways of life and so on. The Medu Neter was there way before those people and their fathers, because many claim that it's a lineage from father to son, this gift that they've been having. The Medu Neter has been there way before those people. So you don't get no more ancient than the Medu Neter. When we're talking about the culture, not just some objects that were fine with some design and you don't know what it says. The Medu Neter is a language. You can know what it says. I think it would be wiser to spend your time and energy and money learning this ancient culture. You understand what I'm saying? Rather than going to some dude who uh will make some so-called rituals, but what he's after is just your paper. You understand what I'm saying? The so-called conscious community, and it's I don't know if it's worse in France or in America, but in America they don't defend the rapes and pedophiles publicly. In the French ones, the French Pan-Africans, they do that publicly, and they did it many times. But it's a bunch of friends who want to have it locked, and if you dare criticize the rapists and pedophiles, they will attack you. And for those who don't know, France is kind of pedophile friendly. You've heard about the Catholic Church. We know how they get down. So they will have ally. They will have allies amongst the authorities. But I will leave it there. I will leave it there. Remember, I quoted, I gave you the name. There's a lawyer. It was a white lady, a white French lawyer that says that in France, you're better off being a pedophile than being a drug dealer. That's what she said. And unfortunately, in the black community, you have some people who rape. And you have many people who are very timid about criticizing rapists, and you have to wonder why. How did they get down when they were young? They will criticize someone for not being Abrahamic, but they will not criticize someone for raping. So it's on you to decide, brothers and sisters. Maybe you want to celebrate Kwanzaa, which is the Jewish holiday Hanukkah. It's always the same thing. Every Christmas time period, you're back at it. We can do better than this. Don't you think? I think we can do better than this. So beware, young brothers and sisters. Those old fools, they are waiting for young individuals full of energy, full of drive, so they can take advantage of you. And if you ask them, oh, you're a Kemetic? Can you tell me some Medu nature? You will be sadly disappointed because the majority of them don't know any Medu nature at all. And watch them. Have they been sharing the culture? Or have they been fence riding and helping out all the Abrahamic believers and amazingly dissing Kemetic people? How can you be Kemetic and you dissing Kemetic people? Some people bear Kemetic names and they are dissing Kemetic people, man. Some people don't bear Kemetic names, but if you ask them, if you listen to them, they will be classified amongst the Kemetic people, and they're dissing Kemetic people. They love the attention. They want a pat on the head from all Abrahamic believers. And you have some other people who talk about black people, or talk about black folks, and they get white scholars mainly, and they even pay the white scholars. When they get black scholars, they don't pay them. When they get white scholars, they pay them. So those white scholars can diminish and talk slick about fellow black scholars / historians and so on. Game Space is asking how complete the meta nature is. Can it be spoken? Yes, it can be spoken. We might not know necessarily exactly how some words were pronounced. And you can ask scholars, you can go to any university website and ask them, do we know exactly how Yahweh was pronounced? Some people feel, hey, tu vois pas que je suis occupé là? Some people will tell you that it was pronounced Yahoo. They don't even know the name of the main God, Elohim, the gods. It's a plural, but I'm gonna, dig into that. So we mainly have the consonants written down, but we do have vowel sounds. Not all the time, but we do sometimes. You see? So we have the Akkadian language, Sumerian languages, the cuneiform. Ask them if they know for sure the vowel sounds. They don't necessarily know, but we know the meaning. And once again, the Hebrew language has been reconstructed using Yiddish. So some Hebrew people or Jewish people don't pronounce the Hebrew language the same. Nobody says, "Oh, it's not been deciphered. We don't know." Hey, hey, hey. Wait. Hold on. Anyway, it's been an hour and 20 minutes. Nobody used the calling link, so I guess I'll call it a day. I've shared my message. If you are interested in learning the meta, just send me an email and we will take it further. And we're going to let the other people do the same thing they've been doing. They're not going to progress. They're not going to progress at all. You know, 2004, 18 years ago, that's when I started my website. And the Pan Africans, they don't have job. They don't have a pot to urinate in. You know, at some point, they were getting money from terrorists, from foreign countries, and they were happy. They thought they had it made. But ultimately, they were kicked to the curb because they served their purpose and they are no longer needed. You see? And I think it's a huge shame. You know, it's a huge shame. But on the other hand, we've seen people who receive millions of dollars for not doing what they claim they will be doing. And apparently they were making it rain in the strip clubs. And other people who bought themselves some $1 million houses. But who are you to blame? Will you blame white folks and say it's MK Ultra that made you give donations to those people who never achieved anything, but have some good rhetoric? At some point you need to check yourself. What I've been supported, what I have been supporting, has that helped me? Has that taken me somewhere? How are you going to be Kemetic and you're going to just not say anything when people disrespect Kemet? When people disrespect my art? That doesn't make sense at all. So, they're like holiday Kemetic dudes. They're Kemetic when it's holiday time. They're Kemetic as a fashion, as a trend. They're not down. They're not about it. You understand what I'm saying? Will you see Hebrew Israelites being cool with people that disrespect the Tanakh or the Old Testament or the Bible? You don't see that. You don't see Christians being cool with people disrespecting Christianity and the Bible. But the punk so-called Kemetic people of the so-called conscious community, they're all over the place. But I'll stop there. I don't want to sound aggravated. C'est bon. I don't want to sound aggravated. I'm really looking for people who want to take it further. So you have the email address in the description of the video. If you want to learn the meta nature, holler at me and let the other people living their life and saying Uncle Jasineb, and they won't even be able to translate Uncle Jasineb, and that's about it. They will say nature. They will tell you that, hey, je suis occupé là. They will tell you that nature is the root of the word nature. They will tell you stuff like that. As a matter of fact, I've been seeing so many linguistic acrobatics and so many linguistic gymnastics online, on social media. It's just crazy. And sometimes I'm tempted. Sometimes I'm tempted to address it, to refute it. But then I realize if I start doing that, the person's going to respond. I'm going to give the person some play. And it's going to be some back and forth. So I'm going to waste my energy. But what kills me is that we don't have people who are alert enough to just realize or state, hey, that's some BS. So it's usually the same thing. We always have some people who come up and try to break down, okay, well, search patriarch was search pharaoh. Actually, that name is not that one, it's that name. That's the root and etymology of that name. And it always tied to this Abrahamic belief system, to this Asiatics. They have more love for the Asiatics than for the Africans. And like I've shown you, people have lessons that says that Africans are living in jungle life, that Africans are not civilized. So stay safe, stay healthy, and if I'm allowed to, by the nature, I'll definitely holler back at you. Hotel. Now, for the record, for those who don't know, I'm giving Middle Nature classes. And here, that's the flyer. Okay? So those who are interested, feel free to holler at me. If you're not interested, it's cool. But I recommend that everybody who has not yet seen the video Kemet and Ma'at before Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, then watch it. It has about 300,000 views and really deserves to have a lot more. I just want to let everyone know who's listening in now and who's going to listen to this stream in the future. I just had my first Meta Nature class by Brother Shaka today, and I've had other Meta Nature lessons by other teachers, and I can tell you right now, the brother is the best in the game. He is that was one of the best classes I've ever had, ever. So if you're interested in learning the Meta Nature, if you're interested in getting the basics of it, Brother Shaka is an awesome teacher. Get with him, and it's extremely affordable. This brother is giving us his time and his skills, and he's basically giving it away. I mean, I just consider it a donation. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody's interested in learning the Meta Nature, get with this brother right here. He's an awesome, awesome, awesome teacher. And I'll end with that.
Hotep Senu, Hena Senut. This is Julie, also known as Servant of Yah, and I'm currently taking the Medu Neture classes with Brother Shaka, and it has been an amazing experience. Only 2 lessons so far, and I feel like I've been taking the classes for months, just with the how in depth he goes into the vocabulary words, the construction of the language, the grammar. It's been immeasurable, the experience. And one thing that comes across, hands down, is his extreme passion for teaching this to anyone who is willing to learn and has an interest in learning. So I highly suggest, if you are interested, even a minimal interest, that you subscribe to the classes with Brother Shaka. It's such a nominal amount for how much you get. I know, like, our last class was over 2.5 hours. It felt like 2 minutes, but because that's how, involved you are in what he's teaching and how he teaches and how compassionate he is about what he teaches. Also with sharing materials free of charge, no question, no doubt. It's just what he does. He doesn't have to, but he does. And so I just wanted to give a short testimonial about the class and the effectiveness of the class. And all of that is attested to how studied Brother Shaka is. So I highly recommend anyone with a minimal interest that you do sign up for the Medu Neture class. Hotep.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, which is Ma'at Forever. Don't forget to watch the video entitled Kemet and Ma'at. Don't forget to share Kemet and Ma'at on my channel on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, or other social media that you use. Email, text messages, you name it. Those who wish to donate can do so on paypal.me/ma'atforever.